before starting with the topic, this session is going to be recorded and the presentation is also going to share. I will refer to the previous two sessions which I delivered because as it's a community meetup, so we are planning the series of sessions which is related with each other so everyone can learn together. And as it's a part of community, so we are always open for the speaker, for the suggestion, for the topics. And if anyone would love to contribute and want to share their learning, their exploration about Alibaba Cloud Platform, feel free to reach out to us and we will love to host, as well as because the support from the local Alibaba Cloud team as well as the other community members, we always looking to expand, to share the learning with more and more people. So let me share my screen and then we will start with our topic. And as I mentioned, the recording will happen, the presentation, be on mute, the Q&A will happen after the end of a presentation. I have a small presentation. After that, I will jump to the demo. And for each one of you, there is a quiz. You can, because quiz will be related with the topic and you just play the quiz. And after that, you will get a shiny certificate, which you can share and it will help you to obviously because quiz is something like it will test your learning about the session. So let me start while with sharing the screen. I will start with the presentation and then we will. All right, so today our topic is about elastic compute service. So I would like to set the context that why we are going to talk about what are the key points to consider around this area and what is the importance of this. And bit about me, I started my career in 2016 as a cloud consultant. Right now I'm based out of Singapore and I'm one of the Alibaba Cloud MVP. With all of your support, I would like to thanks. I've become the MVP and I have a bunch of cloud certification from different cloud provider. And this is my YouTube channel link. Feel free to subscribe. I have some content there about Alibaba Cloud, some certification preparation tips, as well as I have planning more and more. So keep eye on the channel. You will get more and more quick videos to do some kind of testing and experimenting. So agenda, so we will talk about like why we are talking ECS, what is the importance, what is the underneath architecture, and how it is connected with other services. Because here we are talking about a cloud where we will not going to have any physical access, but how it is connected with the other services to make it as a solution, or where and what service we need to think while designing our solution. And important thing is because this is a very big area and I can say it is the heart as well as the mind of Alibaba Cloud Platform. So what are the different use cases you need to consider and then where the ECS services will fit. And I will have a quick demo. After that, we will jump to the Q&A. At that time, you can unmute. Meanwhile, you can feel free to drop your question in the chat window. I will cover in the end of presentation. So let's start it just a bit of basic because I am a believer of starting from a bottom to top approach rather than talking about the top level services and coming to bottom. I found it will be difficult as it's my own personal experience and opinion. So let's start with the basic that so cloud is started at the end. It is a physically located geographic location and Alibaba Cloud is having a multiple geography regions where they have established their physical data center, but where the cloud is adding value because of it is at a much bigger scale rather than any kind of a small scale, rather than maybe hundreds of server. It's a tens of thousands of physical rack server which is connected with a super powerful network which is having the independent power cooling connectivity. So to take an example from this presentation slide, that a region is a one geopolitical location which consists of a zone. A zone is something, a logical location, or again, it's physically, but design wise, it's logically. A zone consists of multiple physical building or multiple physical data center. Just let's translate into, so in Singapore, let's take the one area of Singapore. Singapore is one of the Alibaba Cloud region. Let's take one area, be like harbor front side, and the another maybe let's say zone B is Changi side, airport side, or another maybe let's say central site, because we don't have access, so we don't have an address where it is exactly located. That is where the security, all those compliance purposes came. But just for the presentation purpose, I'm just taking this three area name which is apart, far apart from each other. So just take one is a zone 1, one is another is zone 2, and last one is zone 3. So these are the independent location which is not having any kind of dependency on each other. If in case any cooling, any water power failure, or even any kind of rack failure happen, or maybe some kind of network issue happen, so the other will not get impact. That is where the power of the cloud and power of networking and everything software defined as everything came into picture. And Alibaba is delivering all these with a very awesome service level agreements with much powerful thing. So it's the same thing you need to always keep remember, because if you crack this thing, you will be able to easily solve any cloud migration, and you will be able to design your solution beautifully on Alibaba cloud platform. Because at the end, keep remember, we are bound with the physical thing, everything is running physically. But we are getting is as a API driven, virtualized, all those IT terms which we are dealing. But physically it matters a lot. So while designing a solution, we need to understand about this terminology and this analogy. It will much be helpful for design your solution. So let's start with the topic of Alibaba Compute Service and its important. So ECS short name, it is a web service and which provision the compute for us. Normally we are living in the era of now cloud, but let's go back bit of few decades ago when there was a physical data center need we need to build. And after that, something known as co-location, or again normally we call it as a colo, came into picture. After that, one night something known as virtualization came into picture, and the whole world get benefited, that they are going, like all the businesses are going to utilize a maximum of their compute or their hardware investment. So virtualization is another a big key important area. That is what I can say. Another thing is a missing area. While talking about cloud, people forgot to learn and talk about virtualization. So virtualization plays a major role in setting up the compute services, as well as when we talk about the virtual server, or VPS is another common name. It is the most important thing. So according to the due to the virtualization, we are able to achieve the scale, flexibility, and each and everything. So now we are living in the era of public cloud, where we are looking for the services in the span of few seconds without purchasing, procuring any hardware, setting up our own network data center. So that is where this service name ECS fit. It is giving us the computation power, which is secure, which is flexible, having a multiple kind of SKUs or sizing, multiple characteristic around performance. And it is just a matter of few seconds to a minute, depend upon what kind of SKU and size we are looking for. And we will have the access of the same powerful computing, same powerful Intel processors, as well as the latest and greatest processor, plus the memory as well as the storage type. So as I mentioned, it consists of the core. Again, keep remember, from the physical world, here we are talking about the virtualized world. Keep remember, you can make a note about the virtualization, because virtualization plays a major role for providing such kind of services. And keep remember, one CPU is not equal to one vCPU. That is another myth in the industry and while learning, because I also encountered many questions, many queries by most of the folks. So while you are designing your solution, you need to understand about where the vCPU fit and how you need to compare while you are designing your solution for the migration from the physical world to the Alibaba cloud world. So it consists of a vCPU and memory. Memory is our RAM, as well as it is a part of network and storage, because it's a web service. So it need to be part of a network, or commonly called as a VPC, and it will have some disk, which is its operating disk, as well as the data disk. And Important thing is this virtualization is something is custom one. It is not the one, because if we know about, if I am expecting that few folks are know about the virtualization, we talk about the type 1 virtualization, type 2 virtualization. Type 2 is simply something I believe we all encountered in our career while installing maybe VMware workstation or Oracle VirtualBox on our local system and try to spin up the another operating system on the top of, let's say, in our notebook or laptop system. So those are the common type of virtualization software. But here when we talk about the Alibaba Cloud, again it comes with its own R&D engineering, how to maximize and how to fit the same level of performance which physically is provided. That is where this custom hypervisor come into picture. I'm going to talk bit about the custom hypervisor in our talk, as well as I will share some resources, because if you love to talk explore about especially the hardware side, this microprocessor and all the how the chips are connected, I believe you're gonna found lot of new things, or you surely I'm expected that your mind will be blowing after learning about how the chip is created or custom hypervisor is created by Alibaba Cloud Platform to giving the performance more and more performance. Because recently on 2nd July also there was an event and they released their 7th generation of processor with a much more performant than the previous generation. That is where cloud is giving, adding its value. Again, there are many type of instances. In the common term we call it as the instances, or you can say ECS instances. So there are many type which is fitting the different use cases. I'm going to talk also on that, like where it will fit and what is the importance and how to choose. As it's a virtualized cloud is most of software defined everything, software defined networking, software defined data center, it's a whole thing. So virtualization and all this ECS is the base of most of the PaaS services. If you talk about RDS, yes, underneath it's running a VM or the ECS, but it is fully taken care, operating system layer also taken care by the Alibaba Cloud. The same like some of the data warehouse services, some of the, even you can say the other the services which are just we are getting the API underneath, it need to run on some instance or some server. So ECS is something which is the base of most of the cloud services. Because ECS is not, because in some cases there is requirement that a customer required the direct access of a CPU and socket, maybe from the licensing purpose or the compliance purpose. Those kind of offering is also there, but again that is a case to case. Maybe in our upcoming sessions we will talk about that. And or if you think that you have encountered some kind of use cases around the bare metal services, feel free, we can arrange a session. Keep remember, this is another thing which always keep mind. That is why I showed the design, the geography design, like how the physical data center and how the region and zone is designed. This ECS service is a zonal service. As I mentioned, zone A, zone B, zone C. So it is a zonal service. Keep remember, because while designing the solution, it need to be really considered that in which zone, because maybe it may happen you are going to consider a 3 to 4, let's say, the web server. So then it may impact your how you are going to design your availability factor, what are the internal networking resources required, and how each component is going to talk with each other. So keep remember, this is a zonal service. It will at any point of time run in a single zone. It is not like the one compute part is running in a one zone and its disk is running in another zone. That is right now it's not possible. But it is something, things will attach in the single physical locality, physical data center, or the zone. And then we can design our solution on the top of that, and we can create it via console. We are going to see in our demo, as well as if the people, the real admin use CLI, and the programmer people use SDK for the various programming languages are available to create the compute service. So what actually it is giving you, it is giving you the computation power, because not every service is available as a managed service. So in case when you are going to migrate something, your workload which will need the computation power, that will fit for, that will be the best case for ECS. Simply I am referring my last talk. It is available on YouTube channel. I will drop a link on the Meetup page. So also please join the Alibaba Cloud Singapore Community Meetup page, or it is already available in the past event. I talk about 6 hour need to be considered for the cloud migration. So that is where this rehost and refactor thing come into picture. Let's say you have some system which is running on some proprietary or some legacy system, which you now time to migrate to cloud, or you are looking for the modernization, because we are living in the industry 4.0, and digital transformation is the biggest thing right now going. And plus the current situation is accelerating the digital transformation, because only due to the digitally thing we are able to connect and continue our work from last 3 to 4 months. So now the more and more importance is growing, and cloud is the way which is fulfilling. So not every application also out of the box is ready to get the cloud native taste. For that there is something refactoring required. Let's, if you say the talk about the buzzword of Kubernetes and the containers world, even those things are also running on the same elastic compute service, only the layer is managed, or you can set up your whole Kubernetes cluster also on the top of ECS, if you know how to configure all the networking stuff as well as the Kubernetes clustering part. So everything is possible, but keep remember, while this is the first step or entry point for any enterprise or maybe any startup also, it is not that every startup need to start with a serverless. Depend upon what kind of resources available and what they want to achieve. ECS is the way. That is where we I can tell you, like most of the revenue. So this is the driver for Alibaba cloud provider, because that is the first step any application need to run. Simple giving example of, let's say, the database or the SAP system of any industry or any business. It is not that they are going to get everything as a managed service, because SAP is very proprietary and it is designed in a very specific way. There are some proven design pattern provided by the infra provider, in our case Alibaba cloud platform, as well as SAP. Then it's a whole point of how you are going to utilize your ECS, as well as the storage part and the networking. So this is the focus area. If you I can tell you, if you know this on tips, you are going to crack the whole cloud easily. Easily, I mean to say that step by step, because everything at the end boiled down to the computation, networking, and storage. So, and this is the step one, if you know, because while the first timer doing a demo or doing an experiment, it is very easy. But if you know its nut and bolts, how it is connected with the network and what kind of storage will fit, because if we talk about the storage, we know the magnetic disk, we know the SSDs. Now there are enhanced SSDs, or much faster things are there. That is where all our basics and fundamentals come into picture. That is my own learning, and that is what still I am following, and I love always to share. And we are going to continue with such kind of session in our upcoming weeks. So another thing is, because a compute need to run on some kind of operating system, because we are going to interact with the operating system to install our binaries and install our packages to make it workable, or whatever the desired state we are looking for. Let me talk about the SLA part. This is a very interesting thing I found, like while preparing, while learning about, because it's almost around 8 months since I am playing with Alibaba Cloud Intelligence platform. So lot of thing, because I'm coming from a different background and the different platform experience also. So here you need to think to achieve such kind of number. Everyone I believe heard about 99.9 and all those things. But if you are going to translate it into the minutes or what kind of timeline, you really need to know that how it may impact your design, as well as cost consideration, and where the service will fit value. Let me tell you in a single word, this is the best SLA in the world, in the global. You can check or compare with any other service. This is the best SLA for single zone as well as multi-zone kind of ECS deployment. I personally checked. That is why I'm saying I'm not following any kind of marketing slides or anything. But this thing need to consider. Being as an architect, these kind of things impact for any kind of decision, that how you want to drive your innovation, the migration. And maybe it can be a mix of IaaS, infrastructure as a service, as well as a platform as a service. This matters a lot. So a single zone, as I mentioned, a single zone consists of a multiple physical data centers. In case of any one rack fail, something, so in the blink of eye it may happen. So keep remember, there is, I also came across someone claiming 100% SLA on VMs or infrastructure. I personally am saying I will never trust such kind of business. This is the best SLA because achieving for this 99.975 is also a too tough job. But in the architectural practices, the innovation. Keep remember, the cloud is giving us the innovation. Simple, buying a hardware is not a monthly or a yearly game. Maybe if you invest on a hardware today to purchase a physical server and rack and put it in your data center, maybe its life cycle or refresh cycle will be 3 to 4 years. But where the cloud is adding value, every year Intel is coming with a chip, and Alibaba Cloud is having a deep partnership relationship with Intel, and we are getting the latest and greatest processor access in the matter of, once they release, in the matter of few weeks it is available. That is where we call it as a new generation instances are coming, which is much more powerful than a previous generation, and which is adding a value to improve our application even without code change. It may happen again, there is some kind of conditions apply. It may happen with the new processor series, your application maybe get much more performant than the previous generation it was running. It is all about the testing and benchmarking. So that is where the cloud and Alibaba Cloud is innovating every year, every few months even. We are getting some new series. We can, in the span of few minutes, we can move from the previous generation to the newer generation to get benefit, and our application will be much fine. So again, these numbers are the monthly level. Again, it's not yearly. This is another missing point. Some people found the yearly SLA, the number will be much bigger, maybe some few minutes. So keep remember the what kind of SLA you're talking about. Here we are talking about the both belongs to the monthly SLA. So monthly SLA, you can think the 10 minute out of 720 hours or 744 hours, depending upon a month consists of 30 or 31 days. And this is again the maximum. The SLA mean the maximum time the service can or may be down. Again, it's not sure that it will be down. It is always running smooth. I have not encountered such thing. I have running instance since January. So I have put a monitor. If in any case it will get down, I will get notified. But till date, I have not received any alarm or anything. So this is the maximum thing. That is, for achieving such kind of thing, you really need to do a lot of testing, lot of innovation, lot of engineering design. So, and here it is, we are getting such kind of thing out of box. And in case of not meeting with such kind of SLA, there is a policy of credits. So you can refer more about, I will share this slide and the link I have dropped in this presentation. You can read about more SLA and what kind of service credit if in case of failure of meeting the SLAs. So now coming to the instance family type. Again, it's a virtual machine, you can say, and the term of technically here in Alibaba Cloud, ECS instance. So let's talk about that because there are much more things to cover. And personally, this is my favorite topic. I'm doing the infra part from last 4 years, and I always love to talk about the infra, newer things, and how we can make changes to drive and accelerate our customers' digital transformation. Keep remember with these numbers, the previous generation was having some different number, but things are getting changed and now it is much easy. So general purpose start with G6 mean is the generation, fifth mean is the fifth generation. So this relate to some kind of processor generation, simply Intel processor. So we will, in the next slide I will explain more about this. So in the general purpose, it will come with the ratio of 1:4. So uh, with each one vCPU or simply one core, you will get the 4x of RAM. So maybe it start with like 2 vCPU with 8 GB of RAM. Keep remember, ECS consists of two things, memory and vCPU. Storage and networking is a separate component, but it need to be attached, or it is those dots which need to be connected to make a up and running ECS. This 1:4, as I mentioned, the combination, and it is running on X Dragon architecture. As I mentioned about the hypervisor, there are some market leader hypervisor there, but as a cloud provider, engineering part again, I'm putting a focus on that because this is where the whole learning is. This is where the cloud is delivering a value. You can run, again, you can purchase hardware, maybe a 10 VM, you can put some kind of hypervisor and run that. That's the thing. If that is a proprietary hypervisor, then maybe you will not get a chance to tweak to get maybe more and more maximum performance from your physical infrastructure. So here it is known as X Dragon architecture or X Dragon chip. It is the virtualization layer, and simply maybe you can make a note of something known as offsite or offload virtualization, so that each and every component is have its own dedicated power. It is not shared, so that it will not be traffic oriented, and things will run smooth. So next, coming to the point of compute optimization. So I am going to cover the use case in which case the G, C, and other coming things are will fit. So compute optimization, you can figure it out from it start with C6, C5, and the new one C7 is on the way, and it is having the combination of 1:2. Then in case of a memory optimize, you need some kind of databases to run. It need a more memory power rather than any kind of computation or CPU power. Then R series is there. If special the case of some kind of, let's say, in-memory database, or maybe some kind of especially NoSQL databases where maybe you need a local cache, that is where the storage optimized, because in cloud everything is virtualized and everything is distributed. The storage, which is considered the operating system disk, is not the same disk which is attached to the physical box where our VM or our ECS is running. In this case, storage optimized, we will get access to that local physical disk on which our ECS is running, as well as for the persistence data, we will get our operating system disk, and we can attach another extra disk or data disk, you can say, in the Windows world, like we call C drive, D drive, or so and so forth. Now coming to, this is something a very special and a very, I can say, tricky one, burstable performance instance, very famous T6, T5, most cheaper one, very quick to start, but it comes with its special characteristics. I want to spend some time to explain bit here because this can be confusing, because T6 also comes with the combination of 2 vCPU and 8 GB of RAM. As I mentioned, in the general purpose, you will also find the same, but where it differentiates and why there is a price performance difference. So let me spend maybe 2 to 3 minutes to explain. So T6 is something because we are enjoying the virtualization power. So it is coming with, you can say, maybe a shared virtualization. Again, this is not an exact word, but a shared virtualization from a single core. Our VM, from the single CPU or the single core, our VM will be able to take only maximum of 10% of that core. That is where maybe the some sizing came into picture. Let's say some T6 large. Just giving an example, T6 large is having some baseline performance of 10%. T6 extra large is having a base performance of 20%. What it is saying, at maximum, so this instance will be able to enjoy or take 20% of its actual underneath core. That is where this baseline performance. But the some bonus is there. If you are not running at your that 20% of the baseline performance, if your instance is idle, you are going to earn some service credit, not the monetary credit, but for the performance credit. Once it will earn, there is again for each, like T6 large, T6 extra large, everything is there, that what kind of service, so performance credit you are going to acquire. So according to that, in case when the sudden spike came into picture, it can really take then the full power of the core. Simply, let's say, giving you example of in the numbers, T6 is having base something, let's say 30 is a credit. So 30 means 30 is now equivalent to this T6 large instance can run or utilize under the actual core for
Is the model.
hello. Hello. So as I'm explaining about that, that 30 minutes that T6 large will be able to enjoy the full power of core for 30 minutes. After that, it will come down to its baseline performance, which is 20%. Again, I'm not talking about the exact number. We can refer the documentation, but I would like to try to give you the explanation that where this burstable instance come into picture. Because let's say you don't have any spiky workload, maybe let's say simple a web server or kind of a WordPress site you are not running, or it is not getting hit 24 into 7, but maybe some kind of some few hours, let's say some dedicated window, evening time 7 to 8 p.m. People are most likely to come and visit your blog to read. But apart from that, another 23 or 22 hours, it is idle. So in that time, it is going to acquire some kind of performance credit. And maybe it may happen that it will acquire more than a 60, which is equivalent to 60 minute. So that when the hit will happen on your instance, the 60 minute or more than according to the acquired credit, it can run the 100% of full core, and your experience will be much better. So this is a bit trick one. Why it is required? Because not every workload is like that. Maybe the case of dev test kind of scenario can run easily on the burst stable performance instances. So you need to understand about special characteristic. Don't think that for the production every time you need to consider, because price performance is playing a major role here. So while calculating, while designing the solution, if you find that T6 is cheaper than G6, yes, it is, but you need to know about in which performance, what I can say, compromisation you are going to choose T6. So this is the special characteristic here, and we can see, and this is something we will get in our free trial also. You can enjoy, you can see, you can test your application. If it is running, you can run it for under free trial. Otherwise you need to opt for the other instances type. And apart from that, I have just covered the basic one. It doesn't mean that this is the only thing which Alibaba Cloud is offering. There are more than 70 instance types. Why I'm picked that? Because these are the very major and common scenarios it will getting used. If you are talk about any kind of FPGAs or high performance computing, or you need to train, or maybe you are working in that deep learning, or you want to train your model and all those things, all those GPU accelerated FPGAs, everything is available there. You can explore. Again, the link is in the in the families. You will get, I believe, around near about 180 if I count it correctly. So these are the different 70 different here. It will fit because as I explained, the new generation, the new processor is coming. We are getting up to dated content, up to dated instance. So few instance maybe belong to the, if you remember the Intel processor series Hard or Broadwell. After that Skylake came into picture, they which become super powerful. After that Cascade, nowadays it's a third generation of Cascade going on. So you need to know about like which generation. It may happen your application is bound to a specific CPU. For there you need to do little bit of R&D. Every information is given for which generation, which Intel processor, some platinum, some all the exact processor number and info is given. You can search about that, and then you can take a call which instance will fit best for your use case. So again, each family is having a different vCPUs to memory ratio and different storage characteristics. Some are giving access to the local storage in terabytes also as a local storage to do some kind of a temporary data, because the local disk can be a single point of failure. But different use case, that is where the whole solution architect and designing come into picture. And if your base is clear, if your fundamentals are clear around this area, and I believe then your solution design, you will not find any kind of hindrance. So let's move further, little bit about how to select the instance family. Simply some common application names is given. So I just while I was going through the documentation, I found like this is a very clear cut description is given. So I thought like why not to present this rather than typing and making some pointers. So web server or nginx, you can go for the C series, because yes, why again, keep remember, nowadays security is the another important part. It may happen you want to directly expose your web server to the internet world rather than putting the server load balancer in front of that. There comes something known as SSL certificate. And if you know about the cryptography, it is a compute intensive. Again, Apache Nginx is a very light thing. It can run off even T series and easily G series. But the case when we talk about, the thousands of concurrent requests, and when it need to solve your SSL, the cryptographic thing as quickly as possible, that is where it will fit best with the compute optimized series. And the middleware services, if you are going to middleware like IBM and all the Java things, so you can go for the G series. Application purpose, again G series will fit. You can put your code on the top of that. So cache here I would like to talk a bit, because cache is most of the things are this in-memory database which is going to accelerate our database queries. So and the more databases are work on the memory side rather than the compute side. So that is where this R series will fit. Database specifically, again R series, as it is the memory optimized, and I series which comes with the local SSD, because some kind of log transaction or some kind of cache need to be required, which need to be quickly load into the memory, or it may be the matter of nanoseconds, not even milli or seconds, but nanosecond. So the more faster, because keep remember, as I again referring to the image of the physical geography design, the more miles differences, the more latency. Again, the latency we are not going to feel because it is in the span of nanosecond to millisecond, but the more far, the more latency it will. The zone is having from the difference of 10 to 50 miles apart from each other, depend upon the different region. So you need to understand, even it is connected, or it is having a big fat pipe, network pipe, but still latency matters a lot. That is where in the database case I series may fit best. Again, big data, if you know about a Hadoop, Spark, and all those things, we need a huge memory computation and everything. So D series, and again it comes with a different characteristic. That is where I mentioned that it's not about a 70 family or 180 instance type. It's all about what is your use case and how you are going to design. So you can say D1NE, so it means it's network and enhanced storage. So you can explore more about that, and each come with its own different kind of cost. Then for the people nowadays, this is a very common, and it's expanding in a bigger way. If you need a GPU capabilities, so you can follow this GN5 as well as GN6 kind of series, which will give you the latest greatest NVIDIA and other GPUs are available, and you can utilize according to your need. So just to again break, because I just shown you about the G6 and this, but you need to know what's the instance terminal. So ECS is the product name. In the console, we will able to see ECS. Few older generation is having bit of lengthy name, right? Like something is known as SNE6 something. But again, you can refer to, if you really need that kind of processor, I always recommend go to latest and greatest processor series and latest and greatest instance type, because it comes with its own power, with much lesser price in some cases than the previous generation. So G is the instance family. As I explained about, the G is a general purpose simple. We can memorize G, C, and D series and I series. So G here denotes to the general purpose. 6 is the 6th generation, because see, Intel is working since maybe few decades. They are releasing the processor. It's about that how Alibaba Cloud Platform is releasing their instances to the instances to the, say that 6 means the Skylake processor. It is majorly come into the cascade side, but just keep remember, the 6 and 7 is all, it is going to denote about the latest series. There is G5 also. So you can plan and think according to it. After that, it's a t-shirt size: large, extra large, 2 extra large, 3, 4, 8, 16, depend upon the combination of your vCPU is to memory. So this is how you can design and you can memorize that. First is a generation, instance family, then generation, then the t-shirt size. T-shirt size extra large is having 416. So such kind of things you need to understand, and according to that, because once you start going into this area, you need to know about how it is going to cost. That is where this x large, 2x large, 5x, or whatever this value will going to give you the pricing. So just before going to the demo, I would like to talk bit some points which will which is really required, because this is a very vast area, and I think it will take us few minutes, but this is to set the ground about where the ECS will fit and what you really need to know the difference of pricing mechanism. As a cloud, the cloud beauty of cloud is pay as you go, or whatever we use, we will pay that much amount. So that is there. Another thing is subscription or reserve instance. That is a common in the industry, but here again, one beauty is we can do some kind of RI or subscription, or especially the subscription for the smaller time, minimum of 1 month. It is not that we are bound to do it for the annual minimum of annual, but 1 month, 3 months, 6 months is also there, and you will get a significant amount of discount than pay as you go. And preemptible, or the other word, if you coming from or utilize any another cloud, spot. So preemptible, this is another a special characteristic. So let me maybe spend some time here to translate into number. I will try my best to explain. So spot instances, let's take an example that instance is having a one very small instance. Let's say a one vCPU and 2 GB of memory. Simple, right? We are utilizing a cloud, and Alibaba Cloud is already expanding and already invested heavily. They are not running only, again at the end it is running a physical. So we have, let's say, for Alibaba Cloud is already provision 10,000 cores, or the quota for run 1 vCPU, 2 GB RAM kind of VM. Like 10,000 different customer can run in a single zone or in a single region for the say for the one kind of instance family. But yes, it is possible, and it is the really it's possible that not everything is running 100% at a time. But at the end, Alibaba Cloud data centers and everything is running. They need to bear the electricity, they need to bear other things, because it is not that once we request, the engineer will going to pull and put the cable and the instance will start. Everything is set up, tested, and it is ready for production. But not every time is getting consumed 100%. Let's say now I'm saying that one core or those kind of quota, we have a 10,000 VM quota. At any point of time, 5,000 VM is running under the pay as you go model. So but other 5,000 is again still the resource wastage. Again, it will translate into the monetary perspective. So that is where the spot or preemptible model came into picture, that Alibaba saying, hey, if you need in bulk, I can give you maybe a discount. If that one vCPU thing costing $1, I am giving you for temporary purpose for 20 cent per hour. So that it will be getting maximum resource utilization. But it comes with its a condition that if the demand is required, again, as let's say I'm a customer, I need maybe 100 one core kind of a thing, and already now due to 5,000 scale, so the system will find that, hey, Chirag is the pay as you go customer, and we will give the priority to the pay as you go customer. Then preemptible VM will give you the few minute notice, and it will be take back into the pool, and it will assign to the person for pay as you go. That is why the subscription and RI is having the higher priority. That is where the business is. But personally, I feel it's not a true cloud model, but the businesses like that, businesses are looking for economy of scale with the benefit of money from the monetary perspective. Pay as you go, the common thing, maybe in the few seconds it is charging as a per second billing. And the preemptible is a different use cases, maybe for batch job, maybe for doing some kind of data massaging. If you need the huge computation power, you will get in a cheaper than the pay as you go, but it comes with this a sweet condition. Another part is benchmarking. That is guys really a missing thing. We are following documentation, we are doing certification, it's okay. if you don't test your application and if you say that on the fly that this instance type will fit best, sorry, I found most of the time things are getting not good shape in production. I know that everyone have a tight deadline and all those things, but benchmarking is the most missing part. It's my personal experience from last 4 year journey after talking with and working with many different industry vertical. People forgot to do benchmarking while designing, and they say their instance or their infrastructure will perform best. Then know the purpose, and then okay, this is come to the networking, because in this presentation I have not included too much on the networking side as well as the uh, block storage side. We will cover in our upcoming session on that. So know the purpose, which kind of workload you are going to use. As I in the previous slide I showed the different cases, the database needs something different, the web server or maybe middle tier needs something different kind of instance or computation memory. The same with the networking, you really need to know, because security is not only about doing the encryption and just saying that my data is encrypted so it's a secure. It is a one part of security, achieving a security. Security need to be considered on each and every layer. And if you don't know about the networking, and because we will get again the software defined network, much powerful, and it's just a matter of few clicks and few blinks, our full-fledged network design, even the complex network design we can create with the multiple subnet. We can design like what need to be exposed and how it is going to route to the public internet. So know what kind of workload. Let's say even if you're going to set up your database server on ECS, even the recommended thing to go with the RDS kind of service. But again, some cases came into picture where we need to stick with ECS, the bare raw thing, raw computation. The ECS is the choice. So you need to know whether it need to be placed in what kind of networking subnet, and whether how it is going to get patches and update, where that is where the something known as NAT gateway or NAT device came into picture. Or if you are planning to do the access from your local system, from your, let's say, on premises to your database server reside in the private subnet, you need to know about jump box or bastion host. So these kind of few small design consideration need to be always take care by any architect, any cloud engineer, while you are going to perform, and it need to be learned really in a very serious way, because security is a shared responsibility model. Alibaba Cloud is taking care of all the physical. In the last presentation, I show the differentiation of where the IaaS, PaaS, and all this, the shared responsibility model. In the link will be shared, and you can refer that talk also to clarify your doubts if you are having about. So security is also tools are there, out of the box things are there, but you need to connect and you need to put and place on the right what I can say, the right space. Then only your solution will work, and then you will be able to enjoy the whole power of Alibaba Cloud Platform. And then storage is really most of us, because now I would like to say, keep remember, storage is not about the local hard disk in cloud. Storage is the separate module or separate service. And if you know about SAN, not in SAN, storage area network. So storage area network is provisioned again inside a zone, but again it is connected with the wire. As I mentioned, that the more miles, or maybe not miles, even more meters, the latency will be there. Again, it may be boiled down to more smaller unit of nanoseconds, but yes, it is there. So you need to know really in which case which storage and which storage device will fit best. There is a kind of maybe a cheaper storage or some kind of HDD kind of, which is having a medium IOPS or medium throughput. Then SSD came into picture. Then ESSD, enhanced SSD, which is coming for the very specific or very high performant, or when we required very high amount of IOPS. So you really need to know about that. Don't always think that you know this, you know the family, and that is the cheaper one and that will fit best. Until unless you will not do proper R&D about the if and but, it may happen that not there is some kind of again the restriction, or the not a restriction but a limitation of everything. The technology come up with its own limitation. Let's say the instance type, this G6 large is having some kind of a upper limit that it will support this much amount. Otherwise it can be work, but the performance guarantee and SLA will be breached. That is why I bring the point of SLA. You need to know, if you want to take the advantage of SLA, you want to be a super secure and you want to be super performant, few things really need to consider and plan before designing the solution. And that is where your journey to become a good, I can say, a good practitioner, and then later stage the expert practitioner. If even you are planning for ACP and ACE, trust me guys, such kind of things need to be considered. And I know that, yeah, people are very right now motivated toward ACA. Kudos to all of you, but plan for ACP. But ACP and ACE will only be, I can say, you can easily clear once you really need to know, because as this is a architect track, so ECS is the major part, because underneath again ECS, even if you talk about RDS, you need to know about ECS storage, because to get the performance from even the managed database, you need to know about what kind of storage will fit, whether SSD will work best or eSSD will work best. And last but not least, know your account limit. Yes, cloud is coming, and Alibaba Cloud is giving the flexibility to spin up the resources in the span of a seconds to minute. We can even spin 1,000 ECS instances if required, but every account is having its limit by default. When we create the account in ECS, each region is having around a 50 vCPU capacity limit. There are two reasons I always say for this. First, Alibaba don't want that unknowingly or as a new user you spin up something unnecessary, because it may be a matter of a one single CLI command, you spin up 1,000 instance. Because as I mentioned, real system admin people use CLI, they don't use GUI, right? So it may happen that you find some command from documentation and you just install, or you are just exploring and you spin up maybe 1,000 VM. It may cost a real money, because you are going to use a realistic virtualized resource, right? So then it will create a problem for you. And another thing is, Alibaba Cloud, as it is coming with its own power, they also don't want that someone will misuse their infrastructure to do some nasty stuff. Let's say I sign up and I want to do some kind of some kind of attack. That is where the account limits are there. Yes, if you have a genuine use case, real use case that you want to use, you want to have, let's say, some kind of super highly traffic e-commerce or some such kind of thing, you can request. For sure they will listen. I have increased my account limit, because before even talk I test for my own that really how the things are working in the ecosystem. So by default 50, you can increase it, give the proper justification that what is your use case. Maybe you required 500 cores vCPU, or maybe 5,000, depend, right? So the team will reach out to you, and team is very supportive, and you will get access quickly. And after that you are going to spin up your infrastructure very quickly. So now let's go to the demo part, and I would like to show quickly the demo thing, because this is something I believe everyone is waiting. So this is the Alibaba Cloud Console. If you sign up for the first time, you will see the root account access, but I am logged in as a RAM user. This is a resource access manager, because I don't want to expose my root user. So I have assigned only specific permission to my this RAM user, and this is the console. And here you can see the service listing, a different category. Again, my request, if you have any kind of use case you want to share, reach out to us. This is a community thing, community meetup. It is not that bound with a few people. It is open for everyone. Whatever the use case, small, big, whatever you are learning, if you want to share, please, most welcome. And yes, we all are open on that. So let's start with our demo on the Elastic Compute Service. So I'm just opening the Elastic Compute Service, and this is a one instance which is running, and it is running as a subscription model. So I'm not going to delete. I have not deleted, as I mentioned that I'm trying this service since January. So it is, you can see my dev machine. I've installed Docker and trying to do something. So let's create with the instance. And few things what we have seen in our the presentation that need to be considered. So first thing, what kind of billing model we need to choose. I'm going to go with the pay as you go. Subscription is, as I mentioned, it can be the 1 month to the year to the maybe longer. So you can choose that if you think that you need always available and you want your instance for the long term. As this is a demo, I am going to go with the pay as you go model. Important part here, first, don't forget that choosing the right region, because it may impact your latency from your end user. Keep remember, choose the right region. That is where the whole learning and whole you can say exploration came into picture. And so I'm in Singapore, I'm choosing the Singapore. You can choose even mainland China regions are here, Malaysia, Indonesia, India. So you can select whichever the suitable region, and then you can select the zone. Here it is showing, because as I told that one instance is
I'm
running.
sorry, like I cannot see your screen.
Oh, apologies, just give me a second. Mm, thanks for telling me. Now is it visible? Can anyone confirm?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's
visible.
okay now. It's okay.
Okay, thanks. My apology. I forgot, like, I only shared one screen. Okay, so here let's start it again. So I have selected the billing model, the pay as you go, and the important thing is the region part. So region is important because it may impact the latency and user base. And another thing is security compliance. If you have any strict stringent compliance that data need to be reside in some geopolitical region, and again, the regions are getting expanded. So we will near future we will be able to see more and more new region. You can refer the Alibaba Cloud documentation where they have planned their future region. So I'm just selecting the Singapore one again. As it's a demo one, I am just sticking with the random. You can choose if you have, let's say, your database is already running, let's say, in zone A. So it will be better if you put, let's say, this is my web server. So you can put it in zone A, so that it will be connected with the latency will be much lesser. So now coming into the sizing part, again, we can select the generation, or again the instances type. As I mentioned, maybe you find near about 180 thing. Another point, make a note, not every instance type is available in every region. There is a big reason behind that, because not every area is working towards the same industry or the same kind of requirement. Maybe something the Singapore industry or Singapore demand is more towards the one kind of, let's say the ML kind of thing, right? But maybe in Malaysia or some other part, maybe it is not, but the something other, let's say the R series kind of thing, right? So depend upon according to the demand, because keep remember, at the end things are physical. It need to be managed, it need to be properly tested, fulfilled, then it will be come into production from the Alibaba Cloud platform. So not every region, not every instance type is available in every region. That is another R&D any architect need to do before doing designing the, because in my career also I miss something like that, that I share something with the customer that, hey, this service is coming, this will reduce this, but later I found that service is not available in that region. So that was a very, you can say, I've got good learning for me also. So nowadays, if any requirement came, I first refer to the documentation that services according to the region, so that I will at least make sure before communicating to my customers that yes, this service work here, or otherwise maybe some kind of roadmap is provided, so you can check that when that service is going to available for that specific region. So I'm going to select here again. Good thing is we have a filter, we don't need to scroll too much. If I want the compute optimize, as I mentioned, some kind of a different series, here we run G6 C6. So it is 1:2 ratio, and it is coming with this processor core, and here it is mentioned like this is the Cascade Lake and the processor number. So I'm just selecting this thing to sorry C6, and after that you can explore even for the SAP HANA kind of use case. 4 TB RAM VM is also available, because SAP or HANA is an in-memory database, so it need much more RAM. So different use cases there for OLTP and OLAP. You can explore more about that. So instances are available. It need how you are going to fulfill your use case. So that is where bit of R&D is required. So I'm going to select, if I want, I can select maybe a more instances in a single shot. The same with the CLI, even if I want to select I can spin up, let's say I have a limit of 100, I have only 32 instances capacity in this region, so I'm okay with one right now. Now this is important, this is something image, you can say the base of our operating system or the base operating system, not anything pre-installed. Pre-installed thing is you can check it from the marketplace. Let's say I want MS SQL pre-installed on my Windows server, so such kind of thing. Or let's say the WordPress, I am a newbie, I don't want to install, I don't know even SSH, but I want my WordPress site as quickly as possible. So such kind of images or the base operating system is available in marketplace, but this is the bare the vanilla operating system. If you want, let's say I am a fan of Ubuntu and I am still using 16, I don't know what is the reason I'm not updating myself on 18 or 20, but 16 is best till date for me. So I am selecting the this 16.04. The other versions are also there, the 14th, which is one of another famous of Ubuntu flavor, and 20 is the latest greatest. So you can select according to your need. And then coming to the storage part, so ultra disk is the cheapest one, which is coming with lower or small number of IOPS. For 40 GB it is giving 2120. So here you can see that what is the lower and the upper limit, the maximum of 500 GB I can create. Again, there is something, you can have a single disk a size of 32 terabyte, and a instance can attach multiple disks. Maybe some instances can support 16 disk, even 16 disk of 32 terabyte, which maybe I believe half of petabyte, right? That can be the use case, depend upon what is actually you want to achieve. So read about that. 32 TB disk is available for the operating system layer. It is max off because it is a good practice that you can put your data on a separate disk than the same operating system disk. So operating system disk can be a minimum of 20 to the max of 500 GB. And then we can select like which disk I want. If I want enhance SSD, which is here, I am just clicking here, you can see in the 40 GB I can get 3800 IOPS, and if in standard in 40 GB I'm getting 3000 IOPS. So depend upon the use case, the price will impact. Here I believe if you can see, it is giving me some kind of estimated hourly price also. So it is right now 0.099. Let's select with ultra disk. So it is again calculating, and here you can see 8 cent, some kind of a difference is there. So depend what you want, you can select. And if you want that, even if you terminate the instance or release the instance, you want to persist or you want to store the disk, you don't want to delete the disk, you can uncheck this. And if you want to add another disk, that is the option that become your data disk. Let's say the Windows world, C drive, D drive. Now coming to the next step, the networking part. As I mentioned, instance or ECS need to be part of two things. One is the storage, another is the network. Instance or compute is itself consists of only two things, vCPU and memory. So now we have fulfilled the two different requirements, compute and storage. Now selecting the part of VPC. So by default in each account, you will get the default VPC. I was playing, I have created something. So as I'm learning and exploring more and more about this platform. So right now I'm going to stick with this default VPC, and default VPC is segregated into the subnets. So terminology is vSwitch. So we will surely explore deep dive on the networking, because it really need itself maybe I can say couple of not hours but days kind of time to explain, to understand, because it is itself a very vast. And I always love to talk about these areas, storage, compute, and networking. So here right now I'm selecting, I have only one vSwitch or subnet, and I want that my instance will get public IP because I want to do SSH. If you don't want to do SSH, if it need to be a private server or it's a database server, you don't need to expose, you can unselect this. And now this is another thing, it may impact the price. Pay by traffic is again pay as you go, the bandwidth you will use according to per GB charge you will get charged. Here you can see it is showing that for per GB, because again here another idea I want to add, not every region is having the same price, because not every geography region is having the same kind of electricity cost, real estate cost, as well as the manpower cost. So that is where the pricing plays a major role, and there you will see the variable in the pricing mechanism. Maybe in mainland China, the pricing will be different than India, than US, than other region. So keep remember your eyes, like what kind of scenarios you need to consider. If you are following some kind of compliance or data sovereignty, you need to stick with that region, or if it is possible, you can put it in the most cheapest region also. So pay by bandwidth is if we are going to buy some kind of slot that, yeah, this much of bandwidth is required and I will pay some kind of flat fee. That is bit of a old school model, but yeah, still in work, because business is running from many centuries and they don't want to adopt some new model, but such kind of option is out of box available. So I'm going pay via traffic and security group. So as I mentioned, the networking and the security is a shared responsibility model. So this is a software defined firewall. So in this firewall, because some rules I have added, or by default, you will see, you will get some rules like for Linux instances, it is SSH port 22 is required. For Windows RDP 3389 is the standard port, it is required. So I'm just showing, I'm not going to play here. And for the ping, ICMP kind of rule is required. So I'm just selecting this security firewall or security group. So this plays a role as a firewall. And as it is a distributed thing, it will attach. That is where this X Dragon chip plays a major role, because everything is running on the network. And this is a NIC, it's a elastic NIC or virtual vNIC. So it will manage our IP addressing. So so any ECS need at least a one NIC and a private IP, which, and it need to be reside in the network. Public IP is optional, but private IP is must, and it need to be part of this ENI. So IPv6 right now in this account, it's not white labeled. I need to sign up. I was exploring, but I have not signed up for IPv6. So if anyone have requirement, you can request to the Alibaba Cloud team. Support will get back to you and whitelist your account. So now, how I want to access to my instance. Key pair is a secure method. It's like an encrypted SSH key thing. Password is a plain text, unsecure. But again, if it is just a dev thing, you can play with that. And if you don't have anything, you don't want to even SSH, so you can leave it. So I have a one key already created. I'm just selecting, and here I just want to give it a name. Let's say the my instance is a web server, or uh, whatever for the identification purpose. I can just going to add here, and whatever the description for, again, here it's just a a fresh account. And in a production kind of scenario, it may happen there maybe hundreds of instances are running, or maybe a different environment are running in a single account by different department. So such kind of things will help you to identify the things easily. That is where another concept maybe in the next step come into picture. So host is something because it is reside in the VPC, and VPC having some DNS, because it need to resolve a DNS. If you want to give custom DNS name, let's say I want that Chirag Nayyar, some kind of name, so that when I will resolve the other instance, I can use the DNS this what you can say alias. I'm not going to give anything here. So another thing is, if we want this instance name to be sequential, let's say I'm going to create a another beauty thing is scale in, scale out with the power of a cloud. That is where we call it as auto scaling. So if we want the instance count will be from a the properly sequence 001 002, we can check all these things. So these are again depend upon what kind of use case you are doing. So you can select that. I'm moving next. And again, tagging is important. I believe a good architect never miss such kind of thing. So keep remember and inherit in your practice as a practitioner tagging strategy. So tags can be like what kind of, let's say the name belong to, maybe some kind of department name, whether this environment is dev or production or maybe test stage. At least 4 to 5 tags are a standard, so you can adopt that. Right now I already gave the instance name, so I'm not going to put anything, but make sure in the production environment always use the tagging strategy because it will help in the later stage to segregate the billing part. Again, resource group, if any application is having, let's say multi-tier application which is having the app, web, as well as the database tier, you want to, for the again the identification purpose, you can put it in the resource group. So deployment set is a different kind of a unique concept. Let's say in a single zone, even if you want the two identical VM, so how you make sure that both VM will not sit beside each other on the same physical host, because then again it may breach some kind of SLA. It may so that is where this deployment set came into picture. The use case need to be there. You can utilize the deployment set and dedicated host. Maybe in our future talk we will cover the bare metal and dedicated host where it will fit. But just to glimpse, in the case when we need pure, because this ECS is work, or the cloud is work as a multi-tenant by default. It's a multi-tenant service. That is why we are getting, we call it as a commodity cheap infrastructure, right? So we are getting, so everything is multi-tenant, but everything is isolated. Let's say I am a one customer, I'm going to spin up this VM. It is going to reside on, say, a one physical host. Maybe a customer two also do, it will reside here, but there is a no connection between one and two, like customer me and the customer another, no connection. That is where the power of Dragon X as well as virtualization and all those security compliance mechanism came into picture. So I'm just going to see that everything fine, just accepting terms, and I'm going to do create instance. So it will take few seconds and I will get my public IP. From that, I will be able to do SSH into this instance. So again, this is a very vast topic. We will surely cover more and more. And I believe you have encountered such kind of thing many time in your career, and as well as if we are playing and using Alibaba Cloud, you know this thing. But keep remember, this is a very vast topic, vast area. If this is clear, the cloud learning, your cloud journey will be much easier. You will be able to, you know, uh, serve your customer in much better way. Another thing is, just quickly while it is spinning, we can do this as a code also, something known as, because that is where the power of cloud come into picture, and Alibaba Cloud out of the box giving a flexibility with Terraform. If you heard something known as Terraform, you can write the all the JSON thing and it becomes this infrastructure as a code. And out of the box service name as ROS, resource orchestration service. You can write your template, and let's say we have gone through couple of options. Let's say I don't want next time to go through that much options, but I want to utilize the power of CLI, and I want to spin up the 10 identical instance with the same configuration like this G6 in the zone, some random zone as I selected something. So all those nitty gritty parameters can be passed and things will be up and running. So my instance is having now this public IP, and let me see if I will be able to do the SSH part. Just give me a second. Let me open my SSH client and then I will share it. Okay, just okay. I'm sharing my SSH client. So I'm into my SSH client. I have copied my instance IP, and let me start with this. By default, the username is this, and here we go. You can see we are into the Ubuntu. Right now I'm using, here you can see I love 1604, and we are inside the Ubuntu instance, which is running on Alibaba Cloud Platform, and this is a ECS instance. And if you want to check all those things, the CPUs, the core, the memory, those whatever we see in the portal, we can utilize, and it is the part of network. So you can ping. So here you can see we are getting the internet connectivity also. I'm pinging alibabacloud.com. So this is just a quick demo, and let me now go to the presentation. So demo part is over. Now for you guys, I'm going to paste this link in the chat also. You can take this quizzes, and after that you will get your shiny certificate. Feel free to share in your social media, and so that other people will also aware that it's all about learning together. And after that, These are the resources I would like to share. If you really know more about the underneath architecture, if you really into the microcontroller and microprocessor kind of thing, and you love to know about how the research and sorry this R&D and engineering is working to get the performance and this how this hypervisor is designed, I will drop all those link in Meetup group as well as in chat. You can refer and read. This is a few minute long blog post, but a good understanding. I also referred and got lot of clarity about where it will fit best. And yes, guys, you can scan this. This is the Ding Talk group. You can join. There are around more than 500 people, and you have any query, question, and lot of another announcements, as well as the future event officially from Alibaba is also announced there, as well as the exam opportunity. If there is some kind of offer going, you will get everything. So feel free. You can scan this QR code and you can be part of Meetup group, as well as please join the Meetup group and share it in your circle so that more and more people will participate. And again, the whole idea and vision is to learn together and share together. I will share this PPT as well as this QR code. You can again refer it on the Meetup page. And now I'm open for the Q&A. Let me share the screen and let me start with some Q&A. And you can also unmute yourself in case of you want to talk. So let me start with something. Just give me a second, guys. Let me start. Hello, everyone. Okay, so Joshua is saying that you want to love about Terraform in future round. Sure, we will. Surely, we will plan. And yes, there is something in Terraform session in August. So, guys, if you have any question, I don't see in chat there is any question. Feel free. You can unmute yourself, and I will happy to answer. I will try my best to answer as per my learning. So quizzes, guys, you need to solve. Okay, let me paste the link in the chat so that you can try and play with the quizzes right now. I'm going to paste the link in the chat. So the two links is in chat. Just refer that, just log in your account and just maybe it will be around the same ECS thing and little bit about the website part, the dynamic website, but I'm pretty sure for the ECS you all will able to clear because I try my best to share about ECS. Any question, guys? I think let me create then question for you. Let's talk a bit about maybe a security part. Yeah, so the disk by default disk is encrypted, but we get a flexibility to control the encryption key. So there is a key management service provided and available on Alibaba Cloud Platform. So you can utilize because sometime the scenario came into picture. The client will say that so the client will say that they need the encryption control in their hand. They don't want that Alibaba Cloud will manage their encryption key. So in that case, and then you can put the policy that who can access, who can encrypt, decrypt data as well as who can admin the key. And then it is you can rotate. It is something that if you want to put some kind of rotation mechanism, or if you are following or designing your infrastructure around some kind of specific industry design or specific vertical, if you are targeting, let's say, some kind of a compliant industry, that is where all these tools and nitty gritty things come into picture. So okay, so one question is, Ninad, what is UCAP? Okay, I was reading. So this was, I believe, it was kind of a creating the private cloud thing. If you heard about OpenStack, nowadays it is no longer in market. If I remember it correctly, it was acquired or HP. HP was one of the big user of this technology, but HP came up with their public cloud platform. I think HP Horizon back in 2014-15 time, but after that they were not able to run it. Maybe they stopped their services. So you can search more on that. This is maybe a bit of the older, maybe the newer version is OpenStack. If you have the OpenStack kind of requirement, then that is where the ECS bare metal can fit your requirement. You can utilize the ECS bare metal to create your OpenStack kind of your private cloud kind of a structure. Again, depend upon your requirement. Okay, can you please log in alibabacloud.com and then show how to select the free account? Sure, just give me a second. Let me share my screen and I will show. Okay, so let me open with the. I believe if you are able to see the screen, so just go click the free account. Even if you create directly, then also it will not issue, because when you in console, you will be able to see. I suggest be spend some time to read on the home page. Free trial. Click on this. You need to know again. If you I believe this is again my same thing. This is the basic math, guys. There is no integration or engineering math required. You just need to understand what is the meaning of this and for how long, and what is the upper limit or limit restriction is given. So the limit here means what covers under the free trial. As I explain, as I spin up the G6, so G6 instance type is not covered under the free tier. So for that I am getting charged. I am obviously, after this demo I'm going to terminate it, but it is getting charged. So this is where another missing thing. If you really want to learn, I highly recommend. Without hands-on learning, there is nothing for the long term. I have encountered many cases, I can say thousands of cases, that yeah, people are just reading and maybe getting a certification, but it is just a matter of a one or two question. So hands-on learning is required. That is where the free trial is provided. You need to know just basic maths. No computer science background required. Don't think. I believe these are the simple numbers. Anyone, any school guy can easily able to understand, because computer is not a new thing. Everyone know about the processor, RAM, and storage or hard disk. The same thing. Each and every category is given now 750 hours. I believe straight justification 31 days or 30 days, 720 hours or 744 hours. So you just read, and then you just click, and once you create your account, you just click from here. It will be redirect to the console and it will spin up for you. Okay, and can you tell me something about component of AWS? Okay, here something known as cloud monitor. So monitoring is another part, because it's not about spinning the thing, but how from the operational excellence you can get it. So you can explore more about the cloud monitor. You will get the metrics. And again, maybe a question for you, all of you. I believe the guy who is especially asking, can you please share that how to get the memory metrics out of the ECS or any cloud? That is the thing. So try to learn from that perspective. If you know the underneath things, especially what are the virtualization, where it is giving the isolation, and another key area, if you would like to explore before directly jumping into cloud, I highly recommend to learn bit about software defined networking, software defined storage, or overall SDDC, software defined data center. What it will give you, it will clarify your thought, and then you will be in much better position to propose the solution to your customer as well as for your own learning, regardless whether you are in what you can say in your learning phase or in your consulting or professional career phase. So as well as each and everything in cloud can be tackled from a coin has a two side. One is the admin side, right? That is where the console and CLI. And if you are a developer, now developer, the software developer job description is no longer the same what it was 10 years ago. Now it is expected you know the end-to-end thing, kind of DevOps. These all buzzword are very common in market, and it is expected you know the bit of infra part as well as your development part and that deployment part. So yes, you are best in your development part, but if you know little bit about this infrastructure thing or this small key, for that I don't think that anyone need a computer science thing. But it is very good resources are available. I found the documentation is very well written, very simple to use. I have referred the documentation to learn about the ECS, couple of other services, and on 28th we are going to do the another session on OSS, which is the object storage service. It is something that we are going to talk multiple things. What so feel free to tune in. The agenda and everything will be published in coming days. So the what I am trying to say, the basics are there for the developer also. You can utilize the SDK and you can spin up the infrastructure and you can deploy your application. And if you are the guy like who loves the IAC infrastructure as a code, resource orchestration, ROS is there as well as the Terraform is there. You can utilize and you will get your infrastructure and results in much better. I believe, yeah. No question. So I believe we are good to go. We are on time. So guys, complete the quiz. I would love to see the certificate, and feel free to join the community Ding Talk group. Everything people are there to help to learn to clarify your doubt. I'm also learning like that. It's not that I know everything. I just started small. Whenever I feel some issue, I talk. I try to first search. If I'm not able to clarify my doubt, I try to talk and share in community that for sure it may happen. Most of the issues are very common and some people already experience and they have solved that issue. So no, don't feel shy to ask. That is where the vision of community is. And yes, suggestions are always open. What kind of more content and what kind of more uh, boot camps or what kind of things you are expected and you want to see in near future, you can again connect on Meetup group, connect on community people on LinkedIn. Everyone is very social. Or you can drop your message or feedback on Meetup page also, so that the all the community organizer will aware and jointly we can do something with what you are expecting. So with that, I would like to close this now and thank you everyone for joining and stay safe and stay learning, stay sharing. It will be help for everyone. Take care. Bye bye.